Assalamu Alaikum everyone, I'm Ahmed Bukar and welcome back. So in this tutorial we're gonna learn objects and methods in Python. So I'm gonna open my PyCharm IDE and let me give you a quick introduction of objects. So objects are kind of variables. Now you can compare variables and objects as now a variable is a complete object. Let me show you something. Name equals to Ahmed. Ahmed. So what if I say this whole variable is an object? This is an object. What kind of object is this? It's a string object, and this is a string, what you call string variable. So this is a complete object. Now objects are kind of functions or you can say functions that tell Python that this is an object and what kind of object it is. It's a string object, and we have many methods inside of objects, and we can access them along with these variables. So let me just show you a quick example. Name dot. Whenever I press the dot, PyCharm would automatically give me all the methods that are inside of the string method. So you can see here are the string str, full form for string. So these are the string methods. I have many of them. So let me just print my name. And you can see only Ahmed Ukar is being printed. So what if I want to use a method for here. So here I will use the dot and then lower. Now the dot low, what this method does, that it takes the string and lowers or uncapitalizes any capital letter in the sentence or word or phrase or whatever the string contains. So I'm gonna run this, and you can see our variable contain A as capital and W as capital, while when we run our code, A was set to lowercase as well as W. So this is what the lower method does. Say again a string method. Next we have upper. Uh, Now what this would do that it would capitalize any uncapitalized letter in our sentence phrase or word or whatever you're using. So here you can see we had only the A and W as the capital letters, but when we print our code, all of our letters were capitalized. So this is what the upper method name object does. Now next we have capitalize. When you in PyCharm, let me show you again. In PyCharm, when you click when you are writing some methods or some objects, PyCharm automatically shows you suggestions of what this might be. When only one suggestion comes, you can just click the enter button, and it will autofill your code. So here I have my capitalized, you can say, method, and when I run my code, it does nothing except for it uncapitalizes this W. because it's capitalized is used to capitalize the only the first letter, only the first letter of a sentence, a word or a phrase. So let me just uncapitalize this A as well as this W. I'm gonna run it, and you can see my A was capitalized. So this is what the capitalized method does. Next I have we can explore these methods. We use the capitalized. These are just point format. Let's use the next we can browse over here, find, join, split. We can split the string method. Let me just show you here. Split. Here. Oh yeah, here it is. When I use my split method, I need to give you can say a parameter over here. Parameters are just using functions. I shouldn't have said that. Now, when using the split method, you split a string, that is either a word, sentence, a paragraph, or a phrase. You split that using whatever kind of a letter you want. So if I use split by A, now what this would do is split A from HM and then again A from D dash W, and then again A from Q, and then again A from R. So I'm not gonna use A, I'm gonna use in space. I just print it out, and this is in the form of a list. I'll be having another tutorial where I'll be explaining lists uh, briefly in Python. Next I have, so here we have many other ones. We can use this is num, is alpha, is ASCII, is decimal, is digit, is identifier. These are just to return true or false depending on what this is. If I use is upper and run my code, it says false. Why? Because my string is not in uppercase. Now if I type Ahmed Wakar and run my code, it returns us true because my string was in uppercase. Next I have is lower. I run my code and it returns a false. Why? Because my string is in capital letters. Now if I type them for false and run my code, it returns us true. Next we have is decimal. It's just to return us whether this string has a decimal, is digit, whether it has a whether it's completely of digit or whether it's completely of decimal. This is what the function means. Numeric is printable, is space, is title. You can play around with all these methods. Now let's explore many other ones. We have this replace method. What this would do is just find a bunch of text or a character or a phrase from our sentence, phrase, text, or whatever we use, and replace that with a new code. So let me just right here. What I want to find. I want to find a. I want to find Ahmed, and I want to replace this with Azam. Now when I run my code, you will surprisingly see that Ahmed was replaced with the word Azam. So this is just this what this replace method does. You can play around with this. You can change whatever you want. To you can now one cool thing about methods is that I'm gonna change Wukar to Ahmed. That will become Ahmed. Just because I want to show you a functionality of methods inside objects. Now I have replaced this one. I can replace this another time. Now if I put a dot over here, you see I have my all my methods that were inside this object, but they are also accessible by using other methods. You'll learn that you'll understand that when we teach the classes and functions tutorial later on. So I'm gonna again there is it. Let me just type in replace. This is going to be a bad code. Because really this is going to be a bad code. Oh god. Now when I run my code, I just understood I can't do something. I just wanted to replace these two names, shuffle these two names, but I realized I couldn't do that. I first replaced Bakar with Ahmed, which became Ahmed. Then I replaced Ahmed with Bakar, which became Bakar, because both of these were Ahmed. But if I want to really shuffle them, I would use a spacebar in Ahmed, which is this one. Means with Ahmed, I have a spacebar. So Bakar spacebar. We'll just see it in a moment, and we have Bakar Ahmed. Uh, Not very interesting, but still use of methods is very cool. We have many other ones. These are just classes that starts with. Now if the starts with function is just to return us a true or false depending on what we want it to find in our text. Now let me just say a it says true. Why? Because we wanted to find out that whether this string starts with AH. Now the first two letters were AH and that worked. Now if I write AM, it will return us a false because AM doesn't start, this string object doesn't start with AM. It returns us a false. Next we have ends with. Ends with is used to identify whether in the string something ends with whatever text we wanted to say. For now I'm gonna say AR and it returns us a true because AR and the string ends with an AR in the end. You can see here. If I type a B, it will return us a false because AB doesn't end with this string. Next I have I think it's not over here. Yes. contains, what is this? I think this is not the string method. Let's just browse other methods. So I think this is all we have in our string methods. Next we have integer methods. I don't know if they are similar to strings, but I can say age equals 19 and then print my age dot, and here we have our integer method, because this was an integer object. Now in integer objects we have many ones, but I have never used any of these, and I don't even know for what these would do. Add, okay, so this add function added 3 to our number. Cool. So dot add addition bool, just a integer method. I don't know what it will do. Float, it would convert our integer object to a float object, just like that. And we have Zor. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna leave this integer one out. What if I try a float one? Yes, float one. So here we have float. We can add just similar to our integer object. What if I want to do something with the boolean? I have never ever tried this. I'm just playing around. Don't try this if anything happens to me. I don't want you to get trouble. And we have only integer methods and a bunch of only 3 of these are boolean methods, and or oh yes, these are just logical operators. I'll be teaching logical operators maybe in the next section or later on. And true, it's just to return us a true. If I use false, you'll understand this when we go to the logical operators section. So this is all for the objects and methods. The Yeah, it's been 13 minutes, the end of the video. I may not think this is 30 minutes. 13 minutes. So this is the end of the video. Meet you guys in the next one.